Imagine a man so poor he owns nothing at all, not even the cloth to cover his own body. He hides in the river, buried to the neck in the sand, waiting for strangers to pass. And then, one golden afternoon, a princess decides to bathe on that exact stretch of shore. This is the legend of Chử Đồng Tử and Tiên Dung, the story of how the lowest man on the river became one of Vietnam's immortal gods. Chử Đồng Tử and his father were so poor they shared a single strip of cloth between them, each wearing it in turn to face the world. As the old man lay dying, he begged his son to keep the cloth for himself. But the son could not bear it, and buried his father in their only garment, leaving himself with nothing. So he lived half submerged in the river, fishing by day, hiding his nakedness in the water, ashamed to be seen. Far upstream, Princess Tiên Dung, daughter of the third Hung king, sailed the rivers in a golden barge, restless and searching for wonder. Her boat stopped at his sandbank. Attendants raised silk screens for her to bathe, and by pure chance they chose the very spot where the trembling fisherman lay buried. The bathing water washed away the sand, and uncovered him. The princess stood face to face with a naked, terrified stranger. But she did not scream, and she did not laugh. She looked at the impossible odds, and said, "This is not chance. This is heaven's will." And she chose to marry him. So why has this strange little story survived for 2,000 years? Because it quietly overturns everything we assume about worth. Look at how it begins. Chử Đồng Tử defining act is not weakness, it's love. He gives up his last possession to honor his father, and poverty becomes the proof of his character, not its shame. And then look at Tiên Dung. A princess uncovers a naked beggar, and instead of disgust, she sees meaning. Where others would see an accident, she reads a sign. That is the story's quiet radical claim, that heaven does not sort people the way society does. The man the world buried in the sand is exactly the one the heavens lift up. Their love costs them everything. The king disowns his daughter for marrying beneath her. But stripped of rank and riches, the two of them prosper anyway, building a life among ordinary people who love them. The lesson lands softly: dignity is not something you're granted from above. It's something you carry, even naked, even buried, even with nothing at all. The story doesn't end with marriage. Seeking to better himself, Chử Đồng Tử travels to a far island and meets an immortal, who teaches him a sacred path and gives him a conical hat and a staff of quiet power. He returns and shares that wisdom, and one night their entire estate, its people, its towers, its fields, rises gently into the sky, leaving only a marsh behind. For this, Chử Đồng Tử is honored as one of two bathe, the four immortals of Vietnamese belief, worshipped for centuries as a patron of love, of commerce, and of the common people's rise. Even now, festivals along the Red River retell his story, a reminder that Vietnam's oldest myths crown not a warrior or a king, but a humble, devoted man. So the legend leaves us with a beautiful reversal. The man who had nothing became a god, not by seizing power, but by holding on to love when he had every reason to let go. And it leaves us a question. What would change if you believed that your worth had nothing to do with what you own, and everything to do with how you love? Tell us in the comments. And if this story moved you, subscribe to FokeTale, where we bring the old wisdom of Vietnam back to life, one tale at a time.